My name is Chris Jordan. Today, I am a product launch expert working in the technology field, heavily on the print side, but not exclusively. I started life as a software engineer. I went through all the disciplines, spent more than 20 years in the corporate world, and then set up as a consultant, initially on my own in the early 2000s, and then with two business partners, one in California and one in Stockholm, Sweden. And we worked together, and from the early 2000s to 2013, all over the world. We used lots of other individuals to give us particular skills that we didn't have when we had got projects that were too big for us to handle. So we used LinkedIn in the early days, as it was initially a Swedish invention like Skype and voice over IP. And then I stopped in 2013, had a couple of years break, still kept up to date, a little bit of research, a lot of reading, but then came back in 2015, 2016 with, again, one of my partners, this time my business partner in Sweden. And we then worked until COVID decided we weren't going to be able to work. So we then had another hiatus, let's say 18-month stop, and started again in the middle of 2021.
And really stopovers.
So we've come and gone twice. And one of my messages, I think, sort of that I would pass on to anybody who's doing this is that you have to play what is in front of you. The world is very different from the early 2000s. It was very different again when I re-entered in 2015, 2016, and it is very different again now. So you have skills, you can use them, but you really do have to play, as the footballers say, what is in front of you, not necessarily how you would like it to be. So, but if I step back from that, probably the starting point is my question, which I use a lot in business, is today we're in a turbulent, volatile world. So first question is, what triggers change in you or with you? And kind of some of the obvious questions. Why are you going back in? You need to be honest with yourself. In effect, stand in front of the mirror, understand why you're doing it, for whatever the reason. The reason doesn't need to be known by anybody else. It's a personal reason why you're doing this again, whatever it is. And then because you're doing it again, you're not starting at the beginning. You're already experienced. So there are certain things that you can use.
And how do you assess what's in front of you? Like, a couple of minutes ago, you said you play what is in front of you. But how would you assess? Do you compare it to what you had, or you take it from on your beginning? How can someone do that?
I believe a little market research, or a little research amongst those you trust, those you know, maybe some of your clients first time around, maybe people that you have worked with in corporate life or in previous entrepreneurial setups. Get some feedback from them as to, you're going back in for the second time. So what is the area that you are going back into like now? How has it changed? has it changed? What things have changed? What things have stayed the same? Because human beings stay pretty much the same, but the environment, the distractions that we get today through social media keep growing, and how you handle those may be far more important second time round, or how you pay attention to them or reduce them may be more challenging than first time round. And it's something, obviously, your clients are going to be impacted by. So it's an awareness of what the world is now like, compared with or to what the world was like when you were working as an entrepreneur startup before.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for that explanation. And then the other detail I want to ask you is, in your experience, did you see a better support from your connection? Have you went back to your initial connections? Did you feel their support, or you started fresh with new connections, ignoring, or maybe you went back to and contacted your existing connections and you maybe experienced that they were not as supportive as the first time? What was your experience? What would you advise as well from your experience? Of course, not everyone is the same, but
I think you probably should consider doing both. So going for some new contacts, talking to the people that you believe trusted you, that you trusted in your previous existence. Some people reacted very favorably. Some people, why are you doing this? I thought you'd gone off and done something else. So you definitely get a variety of reactions, but a number of the people that I originally worked with said, okay, I'm doing something else now, but here's a suggestion of who you might like to talk with, might like to chat with, and see if they can help you. But I definitely do it as a mix, using your existing network, but also social media has become more open. It is easier to get those first connections, referrals, comments, feedback. Sometimes it's overwhelming. It's just more than you really like. But I just think that's part of the way the world is now.
Yeah, exactly. And if you were to think, what was really the biggest challenge for you? I mean, now you said you restarted twice, so maybe you had different challenges, but what was the biggest challenge that you had to deal with and overcome on both times, or maybe it's common?
I believe for me, and probably other people that I've talked to, it's being very specific as to why you're doing it, really being very clear, getting that clarity of what's my motivation, what's my purpose, because you can have purpose without motivation. You really need both of them in there, and you really should think about exactly why you're doing this, for what reasons: financial, personal, brain power, growing networks, revenue, whatever they are. It's really understanding that in yourself. It may be the same as the last time, but you may be going into a different area. But I think doing quite a lot of checking and understanding yourself, I call it standing in front of the mirror, and really being aware of why you want to do this. I believe that's the best place to start.
That's the fuel for whatever comes your way.
Yes. And I don't think it matters what industry, what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, whether you believe it'll take 3 months or 3 years or the rest of your life. It's having that clarity, and then over time coming back and checking that clarity, because maybe the motivation, maybe the purpose changes a little bit. Maybe you refocus in different areas, or you open. What happened to me, I started opening doors that hadn't been open to me before, because I'd come back and be active, and other people had come back and said, could you do this? Not maybe something you'd been thinking of, but now, because of your new networking, because of your old contacts, or a combination, things are opening up, doors are opening that you had not expected. So you then really have to go back and say, do I want to do this? Is this something I want to do? It's very easy to just jump and say, oh yes, that would be fantastic, I'll do that. But I have done that a couple of times. I should have said no when I've said yes, because I've been excited by the opportunity, but it wasn't really what I wanted to do.
Chris, thank you so much. And what I really appreciate from your feedback is the encouragement. We don't have many entrepreneurs who dare to launch themselves in the second line of success or in the second trial. And your comments are coming as a big encouragement, which I think is very valuable. And your time has been absolutely valuable. Thank you so much.